we just got to our hotel room. Our room has an evidence sticker on it from some kind of previous crime. So we're gonna go down to the front desk and see if we can figure out what crime occurred.
We need to know how heinous it was. There's a level of appropriate and not appropriate.
Like, it's fine. I just feel like we are owed that information if we're gonna stay in the potential murder room.
Also, if it was a murder, I feel like we get a free night.
They would not do that.
If it was simple assault, it's fine. We just need to know.
I wanna know which bed it was.
Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Miss Kafue. So ladies, today we are talking about the worst hotel experiences that people have had. Ladies, this video is very interesting. It gets very interesting, so I won't speak much. You know how we do it over here. Let's jump right into this video and then I'll be back to give my take on it.
I found a strange man under my bed in my hotel room. I booked my solo trip to Japan because I thought Japan is a very safe country. I stayed in very well-known chain hotel in Japan, Appa Hotel, that is in Tokyo near Ryogoku Tower. The place looked legit with a key card that allowed me access only to my floor and to my room. On the first day, everything was fine. The next day, after a day of sightseeing, I came back around 7:30 p.m., unlocked my room like usually, took off my clothes, lay down on the bed, and then I noticed a weird smell. At first I thought it was coming from my hair or the bed sheets, but then I realized it was coming from under the bed. Jokingly, I thought, what if the dead person laying under the bed? But when I leaned over to check, I saw a pair of eyes staring at me. I saw Asian man under my bed. I started to scream and jumped on my feet. The man climbed out from under the bed and stared at me for 3 seconds. Those seconds felt like my life is over. Then he started to scream too and ran out from my room. I screamed for help and the hotel administration came and called the police. They found power bank and USB cable under my bed. I was kept asking the hotel how did it happen, and they didn't have any answer for me. Even more, they suggested up front that police won't find the intruder because they had no cameras. Feeling scared and unsafe, I moved to another hotel and demanded a full refund. The next day, the original hotel didn't even contact me or send an email with report. When I reached out to Agoda, through which I booked the hotel, they offered me $178 in coupons, which was ridiculous compared to the $600 I paid for 3 nights. I called the hotel directly, demanding a full refund and proper report. By the evening, they agreed to refund my original payment, but the police couldn't identify the intruder. The next days of my trip were a nightmare. I couldn't sleep. I was constantly on edge, checking every corner of my room. I eventually wrote to the hotel demanding compensation for emotional damage, asking for $1,600. They refused, saying it wasn't in their policy. Now I'm left wondering how someone could get into my room, how someone knew that I'm alone in that room, and how the hotel can't take responsibility for such a severe breach of safety. I want the story to be well known so the Appa Hotel take real action and travelers are more aware.
Is the manager here?
She'll come tomorrow morning.
They told me last night that she'll be here this morning because there was.
There's off for her, so she won't come.
I need to speak to corporate because I'm filing a police report. So apparently last night you guys, I don't know what happened, but y'all obviously like double booked. I don't know what the case may be, but there was 2 grown men that came into my room last night while I was in the room with my kids. And they were like forcefully trying to get in the room. I had the latch on the door, but they had the key. I went downstairs and explained to the lady that was here last night, and she completely did not give a f***. She did not care. So I ended up calling the cops. The cops ended up coming here and they asked me if I wanted to press charges. But the more I started thinking about it, everything that was happening, my phone didn't work in the room. They had a key, then my key didn't work. This one right here that I have now, I booked at a hotel down near the airport because I was scared. So I'm coming back here, all of a sudden the key works now. I don't know how that key works in that room, and I checked out last night. I don't know how those 2 men got into my room and they had an extra key. It felt like human trafficking.
Like if at all there is a new key made, then this key won't work. But you're saying
But when
this week he is working right now.
This week he is working right now.
Like,
and this is the key I had last night.
Possible.
Exactly. I know it's not possible. That lady, I feel like she was in cohorts with those two men that came into my room. Because if it wasn't for my husband he was on the other end, he came out and he was acting like he was going to shoot them. They ended up running. I don't know what language they were talking, but they ended up running saying wrong room, wrong room. If they had the wrong room, why weren't they in the lobby trying to correct their key?
Like
They weren't here at all.
Mexican or Russians like that?
They were speaking some type of language. I think it was Russian. I wasn't sure.
Russians are the housekeepers.
Why do they have the housekeeper's key?
Like it's a master key. It will open every door.
So why are they opening doors at 10 o'clock at night?
I need to talk with them about that. I don't know. Are they Russians? Or I don't know. I need to talk with them. Because
I called the cops. I want to press charges because that scared the life out of me. And human trafficking is real.
10 o'clock in the night?
It was 10 o'clock at night. I called the cops here at 10:06. I have it all in my log.
They'll give the keys and all like around 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So why were they in my room at 10 o'clock at night?
Is that Mexican?
It makes no sense. It's very suspicious.
Yeah, it is.
The phone in that room does not work at all. It has no dial tone. It has nothing. The lock on the bottom lock does not work, so I can't lock it. All you could do is do the latch. Thank God I had the latch in, but the way they were trying to, they opened the door as if they were trying to really get in. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for my fiance screaming at him and me panicking, I'm pretty sure they would have got in my room. And
yeah. Hold on a second. I'll just talk with the housekeeper, like the maintenance man.
And that lady last night, she is not a good customer service lady. She did not give a fuck.
Yeah, right. Yesterday night around 10 o'clock. Our housekeepers went inside room 255.
Yeah. 255.
Yeah, I have any idea because the guest is complaining yesterday night at some, so they're it's some users and they're talking in a different language, probably Russians. Did Russians work yesterday? But till 10 o'clock, no, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's also not sure about that, but yeah, yesterday night till 9 o'clock they have worked at Sims yesterday. So probably they mistakenly tried to enter the room of 255. They tried to clean that properly again.
That's not.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting well with that.
Good. Yeah, actually.
I'm not sitting well with that.
We just give them rooms to clean.
Yeah.
And they give us an update. We'll check the rooms and we'll update the rooms.
They didn't have no cleaning supplies with them. They didn't have anything with them. They were seriously trying to force their way into my room as if they were trying to take us. I have a 10-month-old son. I have a 5-year-old son. If I was in the room by myself, I don't know what could have happened. They didn't have anything with them. And they were outside of my room, like probably for 5 minutes because I'm listening to them going back and forth. But they were steadily just right there. I could see them moving through the blinds. And the next thing I know, I hear the thing go, and then they pushed it. The latch caught the door, and then they tried to get it again. So if the latch is on, obviously they should know that there's guests there.
Yeah.
If they were cleaning the room.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know what to do right now.
So I want to press charges. It has nothing to do with you, but this company and what happened last night, I can't do that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that because I don't know what to do also.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Let's go start here.
Call in the police. You can take your hook. And don't come back. So this past weekend I was judging a dance competition in Rochester, New York, and after the competition all day Saturday I went up to my hotel room and 2 guys tried to break into my hotel room. I haven't felt okay enough to talk about this until today because I'm still honestly scarred. Basically, after I was done judging all day Saturday, I started at 8 a.m. I got back to my room around 11:30 p.m. or midnight, and I was on FaceTime with my boyfriend. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we just hear this massive thud on my door, and he was the first one to say, "What was that?" And I was like, "I have no idea. It sounded like somebody just threw their entire body into my door." But then I heard somebody just aggressively start yanking on my handle and slamming their body, trying to get my door open. And I heard 2 voices. And I was freaking out, and I told my boyfriend, I was like, somebody's literally trying to get in my room right now, what do I do? And for a little over 5 minutes, they were talking back and forth really rapidly. It was unclear what they were saying. I couldn't tell if they were drunk or foreign, but they were slamming the door, trying to just get into my room. And it was hands down the most terrifying 5 minutes of my entire life, and I legit thought that they were gonna break the door down, and that was gonna be it for me. Thoughts that were circling my head were so awful. I was like, do I jump out the window? Do I go underneath? Do they have a knife? Do they have a gun? I didn't have my pepper spray with me, which that's a lesson I learned. I was like, where can I hide? I'm in a hotel room. I don't have anything. It was so insanely terrifying. I would not wish this upon my worst enemy. I ended up calling 911 on the hotel phone, and before I got there, I was still on FaceTime with my boyfriend, and I was like, let me call one of the judges. So I ended up calling him, and I'm hysterical. I can barely speak words, and I was like, somebody's trying to break into my room. Come here now. And 30 seconds before they got there, I just heard footsteps run away. The 2 guys just ran away. And Tristan, who I just absolutely love him, he got there first, and he was the director for the weekend, and I literally crumbled into his arms. I've never ever dealt with that in my whole life. It was absolutely hysterical, and it truthfully was so terrifying. And I wondered after I calmed down, I was like, maybe they were drunk and they were just trying to get in the wrong room. But there's no way that's the case when they were knocking and banging on the door so aggressively. And the cops got there, and it got even more terrifying.
Hey guys, I have a very scary story to tell you about my mum and I when we were in London about 2 months ago. Okay, so we're staying in a really nice hotel. It's 5 stars, beautiful. Anyway, this one night we got home at 12 a.m. and we got ready for bed, fell asleep, and then I got woken up by mum nudging me and whispering something to me. But I was asleep with a sleep mask on, and I must have thought that it was morning because the lights were all on in the room, so I thought it was just daylight. So I took it off, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, what? What do you want? And she's like, Maddie, someone's in our room. And I'm looking at her. I don't know, I'm still whispering. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I swear to God, I just saw someone walk into our bathroom. And I was like, what? And I look at the time, and it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, what are you talking about? And we're both silent for 5 seconds, and then we hear something in the bathroom, and so we jump out of bed and run to the front door, and we're standing by the front door. We haven't closed the door yet because we don't have a key, and we've just left everything inside, and it's quite a big room as well, and the bathroom is right next to the bed, but the lights in the bathroom were off, but we were hearing noises. Anyway, I'm like looking at mum and like our hearts are like racing, and then we couldn't hear anything. Mum was like, maybe I'm hallucinating, or maybe like I dreamt it. And I'm just like, in my head I'm thinking, if this bitch has woke me up 3 a.m. because she's literally dreaming, I'm literally gonna kill her. Anyway, we're still by the door, we're silent. Mum goes around the corner to like look where the bed and bathroom is. She can't see anything, but then she hears like a noise, and so she runs back out, and we're doing the exact same thing. We're standing there like we have no idea what's going on, but we keep hearing these sounds from the bathroom. So then after a little while, it's my turn to look, and I walk around the corner and I run back. I see something and I run back to Mum and I go, Mum, there is a man in our bed. And she goes, are you effing serious? And I said, yep, there is a man in our bed. Like, he's in our bed, tucked in on your side. And Mum's like, I'm gonna hold the door, you like run down to reception and get security. So I do. My pajamas are inside out, like I don't have any shoes on, my hair's like a mess, and I run down to reception. So I get to reception and I like tell them what's happened. I'm like, a man has come into our room and he's hopped in our bed, and they're like literally so frazzled and confused. Anyway, they come upstairs with me, they come in the door. Mum and I are like waiting out by the door, so we can't actually see what's happening, but we can hear everything that's happening. And we hear the security guards being like, sir, like trying to wake him up. So he was obviously asleep. Like, sir, like you're in the wrong room. Like, are you staying in this? Oh my God, I'm running out of time. I'm sorry, go to part 2.
Sometimes hotel lobbies even include people who aren't even guests at the hotel. There is no reason at all for someone who works at the hotel to say your room number out loud.
Even with the key
If
to
you
your
check
home.
into a hotel and they do this, change your room immediately.
So I couldn't stitch the creator because the stitches were off on their video. So what she was saying in the video was basically, if you go to a hotel and you're checking into a room, and especially when you're on your own as a woman, like just traveling on your own, sometimes when they give you your key, they'll say you're in room 262 or whatever, and then they'll just give it to you. Get them to change your room. This happened to me, and because I remember watching that video, she saved me. So I was at a food convention in Anaheim this past weekend, this past week. I was staying in this random little inn in the middle of nowhere, because by the time I booked, it was like really expensive, really close. So I'd gotten an Uber and I'd gone like a bit further out. So not only am I in an inn on my own, it's also in like a kind of an out of the way area that I'm not familiar with. And by the time I go there to check in, it's late, it's dark, right? And so it's this small little room, tiny little intimate room. And I went and spoke to the guy at the front desk. Very young guy, like I'm pretty sure pretty inexperienced, like not in a nasty way, but he's just very young and very flustered. I went in, checked, like started checking in. He was like doing something on the computer. This older guy, a little bit strange, walks in behind me, and he's wearing like, a little bit eccentric. He looks a little bit eccentric, and then he hears my accent and he's like, oh, you're from the UK or something like that. We start chatting, and I'm generally like a friendly person, I think. So we're like chatting back and forth. He's like, oh, so what are you here for? And I was like, oh, I'm at a convention down the road. And I was telling him, he sounds great. We're talking back and forth, right? Well, I'm sort of standing in between. So he's there, he's at the door, the guy at the desk. I'm sort of talking, just being polite, whatever. The guy finishes what he has to do to check me in. And then he's like, okay, cool, your room is 262, and then gives it to me and like announces it. So the guy hears it, like there's no doubt, right? And my head's like, something in my head goes, but we'd already had issues because it like the room I was supposed to be in, he'd like sold out of it. It was annoying anyway. Because I knew it was gonna be a bit difficult to change it. So I was a bit like, and so I sort of went, okay. I went outside and I've got all these bags, right? So I'm walking towards where my room is, right? And I'm sort of not sure where I'm going, but I walk. All of a sudden I hear that guy, like he's come behind me and he's like, oh, your room is this way. So he's heard my room, taken a mental note of it, and now he's like showing me to my room. And as luck will have it, literally next door to his room. So now he knows a single woman in this room, literally next door to him. And I'm like, and it's not like a hotel where it's like indoors and it's like it's an outdoor inn. I don't know what you'd call that, but it's like, so anyone can walk in, anything can happen. So I'm like, ain't no way. And he's like, show me. I was like, actually, I forgot something Went back because I was like, had her that created in my head. I was like, nah, I'm not going out like this. So I went back and I was like, you know, when you check someone in, you shouldn't really say their number out loud. I was like, because, and I explained to him what happened. He was like, oh, he's like, do you feel unsafe? And I was like, yes. And so he's like, okay. And then he changed my room. And so it was like another place, but then it was like upstairs. And so one of the guys had to carry my bags, but I was like, I don't care. I'd rather be upstairs. Please go and watch her video. It was so informative. Better safe than sorry, but, and don't feel like you're being difficult. Be authoritative. Be authoritative. Be firm. Be friendly and kind, but be firm. Be like, I need to move. Beware of like an experience. Don't just assume that the person that's behind the desk knows exactly what they're doing. So be careful, especially when you're traveling alone. When it comes to your safety, don't play around.
The creepy story is just I have a colour on my hair and I don't want my hair to be jet black, so I need to make this really quick. This woman sent me a DM. For her job, she travels around a lot. She's very used to staying on her own, and so she's not a scaredy cat. She goes to check in at this hotel and she always specifically asks for a room on the ground floor. She booked months in advance. She goes to book in. They tell her that her room is on the second floor and she's like, absolutely not. I need a room that is on the ground floor, and they're like, we just don't have one. Anyway, there's a bit of a to-do and she's like digging her heels in a little bit, and eventually, reluctantly, the manager's like, okay, we do have a room on the ground floor. And she's like, okay, why don't you just say that? It's not as nice as the room that you have booked. Anyway, she goes into the room and it's like exactly what she has booked, and she's like, okay, that's weird. Takes a shower. When she comes out of the shower, there is a glass of water by the bed, and she's like, I don't think I poured that, but she's like, I am a little bit delirious at this point. I've been up since like 5 a.m. Maybe I did, but in the back of her mind she's thinking, I don't think I did that. Anyway, she goes to do her work thing, like her conference. She comes back the next day and she finds a pair of slippers, just one that she did not bring with her, and they are like hidden under the bed. And she's like, oh, the room obviously hasn't been cleaned properly. She rings the hotel and she says like, oh, I found somebody else's property in my room. Has to go to like this client dinner, and so she has to get ready, and she goes to do her makeup, but there are several bits of her makeup that are just missing, and so she thinks to herself, maybe I didn't pack it. She's sure that she didn't leave them at home, but weird, but she thinks, okay, fine. When she's done getting ready in the bathroom, she comes out and there's another glass of water, and she starts to wonder if maybe this is part of like the turn down service, you know, where sometimes hotels will leave like a bar of chocolate on your bed or whatever. She starts to think maybe that's what this hotel does. Later that night, she comes in from the dinner and she goes to go to sleep, but when she's in bed, she can hear like a scratching noise from behind her head, and it's creeping her out. She starts to think that maybe there's like a mouse or a rat or something weird like that, and whatever it is, it's causing her not to be able to sleep. So she pulls the bed out, and behind the bed she finds this little door, like just a little door. And you know, sometimes in old buildings they have like random little cubby holes. Around the same time, some of the other people that she works with are walking past her room because they went out for drinks afterwards, and so on hearing these guys' voices, she goes out and calls them into her room and asks them if they can hear the scratching noise from behind the door. And this particular guy's like, yeah, I can hear that, that is strange. He gets out his phone light and he tries to have a look through this little like lock part to see if he could see any like small animals in there or whatever. So he's looking really intently, and all of a sudden he just screams out, drops his phone, and they're like, what did you see? What the hell is it? Just felt like I saw a man's face, like I felt like I saw somebody looking back at me through this little keyhole. Anyway, he feels like he must be mistaken, but he seems pretty like shook up by it, and when they have a look again, they can't see anything in there at all. He gets up and leaves, but now this is in the back of her head the entire time, so she cannot sleep. She texts the entire group and she tells them like, I can't sleep. They're all texting back and forth, and so this guy, he offers to stay in that room. While this man is in that room, he starts to hear the voice of a man saying, help me, and so he is now like fully freaked out. He's thinking, there is a man in there, I was right, like maybe he's stuck, maybe it's like a maintenance worker, maybe he's gotten in there and now he can't get out. So he calls the hotel staff. They come up and they're like, there's nothing in there. The hotel used to be an old house and it was like one of those dumbwaiters. Behind that door, that is just a straight drop down to the basement. There's no level, and because of all the weirdness, they decide they don't want to stay in that room. So they go to the front desk and they tell the front desk like, listen, we need to be moved rooms. There's something very weird about that room. The woman whose room it is, she sees the person behind the desk make a weird face. What was that face about? And the woman says, about 4 weeks ago, a man unalived himself in that room, and you're the first person that's staying in there since. And the reason we didn't want to open to the public yet is because every member of staff who has been in there since has reported hearing a man saying, help me. So the hotel, they were actually just planning to like seal that room off and have it as like storage, but then obviously she had kicked off so much, but they had given it to her, and this was like their confirmation. Now they are never letting anybody stay in that room again. So yeah.
I've just discovered something completely crazy. Why is it that in every hotel room you go into, there is a chair facing the bed? Every single hotel room I have been into, there's always a chair facing the bed. Exhibit A, this is quite a fancy hotel. There is a chair and a buffet facing the bed. Exhibit 2, a little less of a budget, you know, little more budget friendly hotel. Another chair directly facing the bed. Bear in mind, there's already a sofa here, so why is there additional chair? Even went to the cheapest of cheap. We're literally in a jail cell. There is a chair facing the bed. I beg of you, somebody who works in a hotel or knows what this is, what is this? Why does every hotel room have a chair directly it literally could face the other way. It could face the other way. It could face that other way. Why is it always going towards the bed?
I'm here to warn you off of potentially the worst hotel in Times Square, but I have to do it so quickly because I do not want to do a part 2. Yes, I'm aware there's probably worse hotels in Times Square, but just stay with me. Went to New York City last weekend to take my daughter and her best friend and my youngest son to see Phantom before it closed. My daughter's best friend had never been to New York City, so I wanted to stay in Times Square to give her like the whole Times Square experience. The last time we stayed in Times Square, we stayed at the Marriott Marquis. My aunt and uncle paid for that. I don't have Marriott Marquis money. I'm a single mom, so I was looking for something less expensive. What I found was Millennium Times Square Broadway Hotel. Let that name stick in your mind. Now, they had great prices. I think I paid $200 a night. I was like, perfect, this is what I'm looking for. Now, I knew that because it had a great location, we had a view of the New Year's Eve ball and Chrysler Building, and it was only $200 a night, that it was not going to be luxury, it was going to be outdated, and I was fine with that. We just wanted the location. So we arrive, and sure enough, it's outdated, and it's also falling apart and disgustingly dirty, just so dirty. But I did not complain. I said not a word because I didn't care. I'm like, we're only going to be here for 3 days. We're not going to be in the room that much. What I'm after is the location. I got the location at a great price. We will deal, and deal we did. I had great interactions with the staff. They were super sweet. We joked around. I liked them. I am a people pleaser, so I'm always very accommodating to whoever I'm talking to. Now, the hotel was roasting. We were on the 48th floor and we had no AC in our room, so we were dying hot the whole time. And so we were drinking a lot of like iced coffees and Cokes and teas and things like that. Because of that, we had a bunch of half-empty cups in our room, and we had them all on the desk up against the wall so they wouldn't get spilled and they weren't in our way. Now, you may ask why we didn't just throw them away. It's because mysteriously there were no trash cans in our room. And as I mentioned, we were on the 48th floor and we didn't want to have to take them all down with us because the elevators were always super crowded. My plan was to deal with them on our last morning before I checked out, but our driver was supposed to get there at 5:30 a.m. He got there at 4:50 a.m. He called me and was like, hey, why aren't you down here? And I was like, why are you already here? And it was a whole big thing, and we had to rush out of that hotel. The last thing I did before we left that room was I shook out the linens on both beds just to make sure we didn't have like chargers or anything left in there, right? The cups remained on the desk. I felt bad about it, but there was really nothing I could do. So upon getting back home, I get an email from, I assume, the manager of the hotel, and he's like, hey, since you elected to take all of your half-empty cups and dump them on the beds, you have ruined both mattresses, and so we went ahead and charged your card $800. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that we definitely didn't do that, but I will go ahead and tell you we definitely didn't do that. Honestly, even if I wanted to, which I don't know I would, I certainly didn't have time to do that as I was rushing out the door at 4:50 a.m. The guy was like, we have pictures of it, and I'm like, cool, then you stage those pictures because I simply did not do this. I cannot believe you went ahead and charged me $800 without even talking to me. My credit card company took care of it. I got my money back, but I just want to warn everyone to stay away from the Millennium Times Square Broadway Hotel.
So this is our famous shit room. So first up is the TV. You have to pay to actually use the TV. There's no remote. Second of all, there's no Wi-Fi here. You have to pay for Wi-Fi in this place. Beautiful picture. Yeah, I can just turn off the mains electrics to the fucking house. Oh, fuck. Yeah, great start. That fucking says it all. Great start. Move
Open
on.
it. Look.
Fucking.
You see someone else's gaff.
Kid you not, this is exactly how we found this bathroom.
Right?
That is exactly how we found it. Look at that for a curtain hole. That is how we found it. It's like the cleaners didn't know how to do it. You just fall down there for a second. Here's the bag. As you can see, my little keychain is burned. Yeah, that's that completely fucks. Yeah, over into the room. So, if you didn't know what I meant, the little hooks that are here, this is what happens. I'll just slightly touch this headboard. It does a rocky poo. If you can See? So we took them off. Fuck this underwear because this is useless. These little fucking shitheads. It's just an absolute shit show. Yeah, so it's great. Wouldn't change it for the world.
So if you're confused about the hole in the bag, that happened on, I think, day one. Yeah, so it happened on day one. We were told to wait in reception while we were checking in. The cleaners were just finishing up. We went in. I kind of just put my bag down because I had some stuff in that I wanted to put in the fridge. 10 minutes later, I'm chilling on the couch and my girlfriend starts to smell burning and instantly runs into the kitchen, and there it is. The bag is burning, so she runs, throws it outside, and then we empty all the stuff out, and then we go throw it into the bath, just cool everything down. Didn't want that and catching fire. In my head, I thought I might have accidentally hit off it, until it was only a couple of days later that another family member of mine moved into the same apartments, and his girlfriend touched the hob upon entry and she burnt her hand. So I knew it wasn't my mistake. But we did leave after the cockroach incident at 1 o'clock in the morning. We got the fuck out of there. It looked like we were going to the airport. We tried to go tell reception. There was no one in reception. There was only a security guard walking around. So didn't even check out, just up and left. See you later. And then luckily we had somewhere to go. We had a villa that one of my family members were staying in, and they took us in, thank God, because we would have been fucked. We were not sleeping knowing that there's cockroaches crawling all over. Like, we didn't realize for the first few days, and that was on day 5 that we actually found the cockroach. So we were there for a while and we had bites. Obviously everyone gets bites, probably not from cockroach, but you know, it's just when things start to play on your mind. But that was the last straw. So would I recommend it? No. The pictures it shows you, it's fantastic. But then once you get there, and it doesn't even say in the video, there was no sockets in the bedrooms. There was only 2 in the sitting room / kitchen, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There's so much bad stuff with that room. I can't even explain. And I do get it. You get what you paid for. It's a cheap hotel. Like, we kind of just said we were going to go with a cheap hotel because we're only going to sleep there. But it doesn't matter how cheap it is. If it's infested with cockroaches, that my family members also had cockroaches, it's not worth. Do you get what No, it's not worth it. We had to get the fuck out of there. Not a chance. So don't go there, and read every review that you can, because they're all the bad ones are all so similar. I stayed in room 109 and my family members stayed in room 169. They are bad ones.
I just came from the Cecil Hotel, and let me tell you guys, it is so much worse in there than you could possibly imagine. So we just filmed a paranormal investigation in there, and it is the darkest energy I think I've ever come across, or at least some of it. Like, literally, this woman is telling us she lives in there. There was recently a man who died, and he was in his room in the Cecil for a week, rotting. And for that entire week, another person was living in the room with their old roommate's decomposing body. And apparently, according to them, this just happened like 2 weeks ago in there. I was also talking to another guy who lives there, and he said that just last year he watched as somebody threw themselves off of the roof with something tied around their neck and ended their life. And this person said they knew this person, they were very close, and afterwards they went and found their journal with a bunch of disturbing diary entries. I mean, I do paranormal investigations all the time, full-time as a content creator, and you guys just don't have any idea how truly bad it is in there. I mean, and also we saw everything from feces on the floor and on the walls to open usage of substances. There were also rats and animals in there that we saw, stains everywhere. I mean, it was like the darkest hellhole of energy even that I can possibly describe. And like, we've been to the demonic places, like the Sally House, we've been to every demonic place ever, and like, what I just experienced was so much beyond anything that we've ever encountered. I mean, like, truly fucking dark energy. So all the stories and the things that you've read about this hotel, they are true, and the energy and the vibe there is like worse than you could possibly imagine. And that documentary will be on my YouTube channel soon. Just thought I'd tell you guys because it's fucking crazy. Anybody else been there that has a story to share? I would love to hear them.
I'm not imagining this. It's like 1:30 in the morning. It is. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm at a hotel by myself, minding my own business, about to drift off to sleep, and I get a freaking call from the phone that's in the hotel room, like the landline phone. I didn't even know those worked anymore. And I answer. I get up, I answer, and it's the guy from the front desk that I've been seeing like all freaking day, who's made me feel uncomfortable. And he's like, "Hey, there's a pizza down here for you." And I was like, "I didn't order a pizza." And he was like, "Well, please take it. It has your room number on it." I was like, "That's not possible. I didn't order it." And he's like, "Well, what's your room number?" And I was like, "You know what my room number is because you called my room." What do I do?
So ladies, it's me, Miss Kafue, and I'm asking, have you ever had a bad hotel experience? As for me, I've never had a bad hotel experience, although I've not stayed in hotels so much to like say, oh, this is my worst hotel experience. Let me just be honest. There's no need to pretend here. Ladies, I have not had like enough hotel experiences to like be able to point out like this is actually the worst or whatever. But so far, so good. I can't complain. I don't know whether it's because when I go there, okay, I have some expectations, but not like over the top expectations or whatever. Or I don't know whether it's because when I go somewhere, I always like focus more on the experience and I don't stay there much. I stay there like maximum 2 nights. Like I don't focus on much on the stay. As long as I'm showering, I'm eating, as long as it's clean, I don't mind about other things. As long as the basic stuff is available, I don't normally care. But ladies, I will be interested to know what are some of the worst hotel experiences you've actually had. I would really love to know. Please comment down below and I'll be happy to engage with you. So anyway, ladies, this commentary wasn't so long, and ladies, I hear you. I've heard the people who have said they're tired of hearing me speak behind a picture. Ladies, I feel you, and I know, like, I always feel like, oh my god, I'm letting this audience down. But ladies, I'm happy to announce to you that I recently moved, and right now I'll be doing more videos whereby I'm live either in the house or mostly outdoors. So you'll be getting like half of the videos in a month will be outdoors, half of them will be in the house or in a voiceover, but you'll be seeing me more often than before. So anyway, ladies, please have a nice day and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.